What's up, YouTube? It's your boy WaccDuce, man, tapping in, man. I apologize. I know we were supposed to do 30 for 30 this month. But, man, I got off on Thursday, man. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I had the worst motherfucking stomach cramps in the world. Like, literally, like, brought me to my knees, like. And, man, like, I was so fucked up. I laid in bed all day that day, and then all day on Friday. You know what I'm saying? And I just, man, I had the shits, and I was puking. I couldn't hold nothing down. Even water was just coming back up. You know what I'm saying? And so I was fucked up, man, for like 2 or 3 days. And then after that, man, it was just like I've been so tired. I came to work last night. Shit really wasn't feeling it, you know what I'm saying? Today is actually like the first day that I've been feeling close to back to normal. So whatever it was that I got, man, that shit was horrible. But anyways, no more excuses, man. Let's go ahead and knock this shit out. So today, I'm going to give the story about 9/11, when it happened, where I was, what went on, this, and that. I've seen people ask about that and want to know about it, so I'm going to give my side, my perspective of what went down during 9/11. So I was actually in Ad Seg when 9/11 happened, and I remember that morning for more than a couple reasons, and it stands out in my mind. So in Ad Seg, where I was, we had a cool tier cop. I forgot his name, man, but he was hella cool. And like when he would come escort you to yard or escort you to showers or whatever, you know what I mean, he'd chop it up. You know what I mean? He wasn't like on no asshole shit. He basically did his 8 and skated. You know what I mean? Got the job done and got on. But one thing that he liked was sports, particularly football and baseball. So that was right up my alley. So I used to chop it up with him. On Sundays when he'd work, you know what I'm saying? I'd hit him up like, hey, what's the score of the so-and-so game? And he'd come and tell me, like, whatever, woo, woo. Or, you know what I mean? And to the point where he would randomly come by on Sundays and be like, hey, the score's woo. Chicago's got the ball and they're driving, 2 minutes left. And we talked him into to getting a Super 3 radio and putting it in our section where we were at, and turn it all the way up, and it would be on it was like ESPN radio, or one of them radios where it always updated the games. And so that was cool. And anyways, so this day on 9/11, it happened to be my section's shower day. And so got my shower shit, you know what I'm saying, ready. He came and got me, cuffed me up, went to the shower, and as we're walking, he's like, man, the world's going fucking crazy right now. And I was like, yeah, tell me about it. And he was like, no, it literally is. He said, we might be going to war. And I'm like, going to war with who? And he was like, I don't know, but the World Trade Center just got bombed. And I'm like, well, what do you mean it got bombed? He said, well, they've flown 2 planes into the Twin Towers, and there's another one that went down at the Pentagon, and they're still missing another plane. And I was like, what do you mean a missing plane? And he was like, yeah, they can't find it. And I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn. And so he was like, I'm trying to get the radio back over here on this side. He said, so I can put it on like a news radio station so you guys can hear when you guys are in the shower. And so, whatever. So I took my shower and I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, that's crazy. What the fuck is going on, right? And so we shower and shit, whatever, you know what I'm saying, take us back to our cell and shit. And I remember he came by the cell and was like, yeah, they're canceling yard and all that. They're not doing yard today. And I'm like, why? What's going on? And he was like, man, it's that crazy right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, what the fuck? And I remember my cellie was just like, damn, because we about to die in this motherfucker. And I'm like, no the fuck we not. And so when you're in ad seg, you know, there's no TVs, there's no radios. It's different from the SHU where you can have an appliance in the SHU. You can have like a TV or a radio or whatnot. But in ad seg, you can't have that. So literally, you rely on the COs to tell you what's going on out there in the real world, or you know, correspondence via letters, snail mail with your folks on the outside. And everybody knows that depending on what prison you're in, I don't know how it is now, but depending on what prison you were in back then and what part of the prison you were in, snail mail was really that, snail mail. I mean, I remember the last time I was at Donovan, I did that 10-month violation at AdSeg. The mailroom was backed up like 10 to 14 days on a regular basis. And I was getting, you know, and Donovan being in San Diego, I was getting mail from San Diego, which is the same fucking city, and it would take 7 to 10 days to get to you. So, either, you know, it was, you know, the lazy motherfuckers in the mailroom or the police playing with your mail, whatever you want to say. So the only news, I say all that to say, the only news that you had was basically through the COs. And maybe the MTA if she comes by your cell to give you meds or whatever, and if they're talkative or not. And then they have, once a day, they have, I believe, I forgot what they're called, but they're like psych techs or something like that. And they stop at the people's cells that are on like triple CMS or EOP, which is the JCATs. They're on psychological medication, psychiatric meds or whatever. They're hot meds is what they're called. And so they would stop at their doors and talk to them or whatever. But they would actually pretty much go by everybody's cell and stop to see how you were doing, this and that. At least like once a day or whatever, usually. And so sometimes, you know, some of them were real cool and you could ask them a question and, you know, they would answer. But anyways, so on this day, like, they basically like just shut everything down. And that night we didn't get no mail. And then I want to say that we might have got mail. You know what? We didn't. A couple of days later, we weren't getting mail, and a couple of days later, motherfuckers started like, hey, man, where's our fucking mail at? And they were like, nah, the postal system has stopped because of a threat of anthrax. What the fuck? Anthrax? Like, I had never even heard of fucking anthrax. And so I went to committee, and I was like, I asked the fucking associate warden, like, hey, man, like, what's up with our fucking mail? And he was like, well, nobody's getting nobody's getting any mail. And I was like, well, that's going to be a fucking problem. That's the only way that we can communicate. We don't get phone calls. We don't, you know what I mean? Like, our visits are behind glass, so we need to, that's our only way of communication. And he was like, well, sir, you're nobody special. Take it up with the President of the United States. He said, nobody's getting mail, including me, at my house. I said, oh, shit. So, that was fucking crazy as fuck. And then, at that time, I was getting, no, you know what? No. My neighbor across the way, the homie from Long Beach Insane, used to get, like, Jet magazines. And I want to say, I think he got, like, Jet and Ebony magazines. And then, a Wood down the way used to get newspapers. And so, after the Woods would read the papers, and I think they would slide it to a couple of the Southsiders, they would read it. And then one of the brothers would get it, and then he'd be able to, you know what I mean? Because when you're an ad seg, you know what I mean? Like, you're you know, everybody, like, you're not best of friends, and of course you're not out there on the tier, and if the door's cracked, then it would be a whole different situation. But I mean, you know, you can, you know, motherfuckers exchange reading material and shit like that with your neighbors, you know what I'm saying? Because we're all up shit creek together, you know what I'm saying? We're all fucked. So, I remember, I got it, the homie, like, man, like a week afterward, I'm like, damn, bro, none of the magazines that you got today didn't say nothing about 9/11. He's like, yeah, cuz I'm gonna let you check it out. I'm like, all right, bet. And so he did. So that was the first images I seen of 9/11 was like in the Ebony and I think Jet magazine. And I want to say they had a pic. That was the first time I seen a picture of people jumping to their deaths, right? And I remember just sitting in the cell. And I'm like, at that time, I want to say I was 2001, so I was 20. I had just turned 21, or just turned 20. No, just turned 21. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, damn, like, you know what I mean? Like, is all this shit finna, like, turn into a fucking nuclear war? Like, is this really the end? Like, this is how I'm finna go out? Like, I'm finna die in this concrete fucking coffin that they got me in? And so I try to get, like, all the reading materials I could, man. I even to the point where I was, like, asking, like, the psych techs, like, hey, what's up? Can you bring us some newspapers? Can you, you know, bring us some magazines? Like, you know, oh, no, we can't do that. It's against the rules. Yeah, but look, man, we trying to find out what's going on. They talking about the country's going to war. We're being bombed. Anthrax is threatening our mail. Like, you know what I mean? This is like, in Kanye's words, this is DEFCON 3 right now. And so they would come by and they would, like, give you updates about, like, what's going on. And then some people, like, some of them, and most of the time the psych techs were women. And so, and this is not no knock on women. I'm not trying to be sexist here or nothing like that. But, like, you know, they really didn't, I don't think that they were following it like maybe a male would. You know what I mean? Like, they knew, I mean, they weren't oblivious to what was going on, right? But they didn't know the details that we wanted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, are we going to war? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it, you know what I mean? Like, are we fucking a button push away from being fucking removed from fucking the annals of time or what? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, we were hitting everybody was hitting all the stuff. Like, even getting the COs, like, man, what's up, man? Drop a, you know what I mean? Can we read the paper that you know what I mean? And some COs are cool, like, you know what I mean? They'll you know, they'll shoot you the paper or whatever. And then that shit went on for, like, I want to say like 2 to 3 weeks, man. And then the mail, when the mail finally caught up, we were getting mail that was predated before 9/11 happened. So now it took a week to catch up on that. So you're talking a month's time, 3 weeks to a month's time of actually starting to get letters from your people about what was going on out there in the real world, right? And that's when I ordered for the first time. That's when I had my people order me the USA Today. And to this day, that for whatever reason, and I'm not going to get into politics about it. You know what I mean? I hate fucking politics, whether it's prison politics or fucking government politics. But for whatever, since then, USA Today has been my favorite fucking newspaper because that was the first paper I got. Now, I could have got the local paper and it would have been cheaper, but that was such a small paper that I didn't want that. I wanted something that focused on the big story. USA Today covered, you know what I'm saying, the whole United States, and it had a good sports section in it too, which is always a added bonus, right? And the things with the newspapers was that if you're in a prison that has a mailroom that is fluid, you could get today's paper tomorrow. So you'd always be like a day behind, except on the weekends, because mail is not delivered on Saturday or Sunday. So I would get, best case scenario, you would get today's news tomorrow. Today's paper tomorrow. But with all that being backed up over there, it was old. It was 2 to 3 weeks old when the first paper started arriving, but it was backed up. So what happened was I got the first newspaper, and then for the next like 10 days, I got a gang of fucking newspapers, just back to back. So now I had a whole timeline of what was going on. And so that whole section of the tier, like everybody wanted in, you know what I mean? And so I made sure that everybody in that section, you know what I mean, got a chance to read the news and what was going on. And that time, it was crazy times, man. Just reading about people jumping to their deaths because they didn't want to burn to death. The cats on Flight 93 that fought back and overtook the cockpit and took it from the hijackers and crashed it into the vacant land in Pennsylvania, Shanksville, I believe it was called. The stories of survivors of the Twin Towers and of the Pentagon, this and that. It was so crazy to be sitting in prison, and me coming from a military background family. All the men in my family have served during active wartime, with the exception of me. Me being literally the black sheep, figuratively and literally speaking. So it was kind of crazy, just sitting there and then knowing that, you know what I'm saying, like this is the first time that the United States had ever been hit that big of a terrorist attack. And so shit was up in the air for a little bit, man. You know what I mean? And you have, you got homies that are, you know what I'm saying, like anti-government and, and all that, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a big fan of the government. You know what I mean? This and that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of cats. You know what I'm saying? It was an inside job, which, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it could be, I remember them mentioning that billions of dollars came up missing like 2 days before that happened at the Pentagon, and Donald Rumsfeld announced it or whatever. You know, the ties between Halliburton, the company that got most of the contracts over there in the Middle East when the war kicked off, and this and that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not denying none of that. I just don't go down that road because that's a long road. You know what I'm saying? And you know, at the end of the day, thousands of people lost their life. Innocent people, for the most part, lost their life based on the ideology of a few individuals. And it changed America forever, and we're still dealing with the after effects of it. One of the big things, the Patriot Act, the way that Muslims were looked at after that, and were treated. You know, the invasion of Iraq based on nothing but pure and false lies. The 20-year Afghanistan war, where we spent 20 years in Afghanistan and lost X amount of lives, thousands of lives of young men that and women that went over there to serve their country, only to turn around and hand that country back to the same individuals that they went over there to remove in the first place. So it's kind of crazy. I just wanted to touch on that real quick because people have asked about what went on during 9/11 in prison, and everything pretty much came to a stop for a couple days. Mail. I don't think they had yard for. I know they didn't have yard for a couple days. Program was pretty. There's no program in that seg, but the program for the whole prison, I think, was pretty much shut down until they figured out what was going on. So it was tenuous times, you know. Much love and respect to the people that lost their lives, and condolences to their families, and to the soldiers that lost their lives in the wars thereafter, and their families. So that's my 9/11 story for this 30 for 30. I'm gonna do another video tonight at some point. Much love and respect to everybody. I appreciate y'all time. We're gonna get this ball rolling, man. We're gonna keep it rolling. Like I said, I apologize for missing a few days, but your boy was man down, you know what I'm saying? And the MTA wasn't answering, so. But until next time, man, be safe, man. Much love and respect. You know, if you can help somebody that's doing that's less fortunate than you, go ahead and help them out. You know, you can't change the world by yourself, but maybe all of us together pushing in the right direction, we can get this ball rolling in the right direction and give our kids a better world than we found it. With that being said, man, I'm out.